welcome to the Living Hope Thought for the Day. What we've been doing in these Thoughts for the Day is steadily working our way through the Bible, and we've been recently picking up just a Bible book which may contain a few chapters or many chapters, but just picking out a key thought, a key verse, and just meditating upon it. Today, as we come to the book of Esther, there is a very key verse which perhaps is familiar to you. But it's the verse, and it's in chapter 4 and verse 14. Esther has been confronted by her uncle Mordecai. He says, "If you remain silent at this time, relief for the Jews will arise from another place. But you and your father's family will perish, and who knows but that you have come to your royal position for such a time as this." The story of Esther is an incredible story. It's a story of the sovereignty of God. It's quite interesting because as a Bible book, there is no actual mention of the word God, and yet he's clearly there. God is written right through the story. Esther, a Jew, has found herself in exile, and she's found herself being lifted up out of a harem to be the queen. Now, that's quite a story in itself, and just the way that God has opened that door for her is quite extraordinary. But what also is going on is that there's a man called Haman, and Haman has a tremendous hatred of the Jews, and in particular has a hatred of Mordecai, who's an uncle to Esther. And he hates this man so much that he'll do anything to try and get rid of him. And if it means actually trying to persuade the king to issue an edict that all the Jews in the province are killed, well, that's fine, because that doesn't just get rid of loads of Jews. What it actually does is it gets rid of Mordecai, who, as I've said, he hates. But Mordecai hears of a plot and hears of the scheme and hears that the king has been deceived and he is looking to somehow publish an edict that the Jews are killed. And he comes to Esther. And that's where that verse that we read together stands out. Esther, have you not come to the kingdom for such a time as this? You are in this place. Well, it's been good for you. You've been pampered. You've been given every beauty treatment available. You'd never have had that ordinarily. But now that isn't why you're here. You are here to save God's people. And so, basically, that's what Esther has to decide. And she decides she will go to the king. Now, in those days, you didn't go to the king. You had to wait till you were summoned. But she decides to step out. She fasts, she prays. She goes to the king. And at first, she doesn't have the courage to say everything she wants. She says, well, let's have a feast. And the king says, well, fine. But then she goes again and she says, well, actually, this, my lord, my king, this is what's been planned, to exterminate the Jews in the province. And please intervene. And he says, well, who's behind this? Who's the one who really wants this? And she says, well, it's Haman. Haman had been busy building a gallows to hang Mordecai on. But the king is so outraged at what has gone on that he orders that Haman is placed on those very gallows. Mordecai is vindicated. Esther has the courage to obey God in a very complicated and hard situation. And God's people, the Jews, have been rescued. How important it is for us to take opportunities to serve God, to take risks for God, in order that we can bring hope to his people. God bless you.